This video is brought to you by Nate Productions. Hello everyone and welcome back to another tutorial. During this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to be able to pick up items from your scene, collect them and respawn them as you like. So in a scene, you might want to have an item that the player will be able to pick up and then drop around or use it in any way. So I have this very simple scene here with a player, and the player has a functionality from a previous tutorial which is able to spawn spheres around the scene. And as you can see, the player had three spheres available in its inventory, and once it reaches zero, it's not able to spawn any more spheres. So in a game, you might want to maybe come close to sphere, and when you come close to the sphere, you might want to pick it up. So if I press E, as you can see here, it picks up the sphere and I actually adds it to its inventory, and same goes for the other ones, and then be able to reposition them and respawn them. So let's see how you can do that. I have two main scripts here. One is called uh, item interaction and one is called player manager. So the player manager is only responsible for the number of items available. The other stuff is the spawning essentially that you saw, and you can have a look at this in a previous tutorial that I made, and I'll link that uh, in the end of the video. You are interested on how you can spawn this, and also a function here that sets the number of items based on the value passed. So we'll be calling this function to set the number of items from a different script. So that is all for the player manager, and have the item interaction here, which is responsible for most of the stuff that you saw in the tutorial. And we have a text, which is the user interface that was displayed when you came close to the item and the sphere, and we are enabling and disabling this depending on if the player is colliding with a sphere. Then we have the player manager, which we just saw. We're getting the text from the our scene by finding it through its name, which is called interactable text, text, sorry, and then setting it to false, as initially the player is not interacting with any of the spheres, and then also getting the component from the player manager. Then we have three different scripts. One is called the on trigger enter, one is the on trigger stay, and the on trigger exit. These are built-in functions from Unity and are helping us essentially track collisions for our player. And the on trigger enter is when collision starts. It's called once, and when the collision starts, we want to set the text to be activated if the tag is intractable. So I'll be showing you the game object in just a bit once I'm done discussing this. The other one is the on trigger exit, which is the exact opposite of the on trigger enter. So this is activated when the collision starts. This is activated when the collision finishes. And again, it does the opposite. So it deactivates the text if the tag of the game object is interactable. And the middle one here is called on trigger stay, and while the collision is occurring, so if the two objects and colliders are in collision, this will be called every time, and this will be checking if the key E is pressed and if this is an intractable game object, and if it is, it will destroy the parent game object that we have in our heresy, and I'll be showing you again the game object in just a bit, and just setting the item number of items to 1, so it will increase its number of items by 1, and also deactivate text. So let's have a look at the sphere that I have here. So the sphere, it consists of essentially the parent sphere, which is what you get when you create a sphere. It has a mesh renderer, a filter, a collider, and a script, which you don't really need to have, is from a tutorial. And then we have the interact, which is a child of the sphere, and this only has a box clutter, and is responsible for this functionality only, for tracking, for being tracked through these functions. It's important to note that the box clutter is not the initial size, you need to resize it a bit. So I changed it through the edit collider and made it a bit larger in order to for the player to not have to get very close to the sphere to open up the text and be able to interact with the sphere. And also I set it to the is trigger, so it's able to being tracked through the code through the on trigger functions and also not actually cause collision. And lastly, I have the tag of the game object set to interactable, and this will ensure that this item is being able to interact with the player. And as you can remember, when I destroy the game object, I'm actually destroying its parent, the parent game object. So I'm destroying the sphere, and in turn, I'm actually destroying both. So one last time, let's see the result that we have. So I'll just make this bigger a bit. You can see that when I get close to this, it's activating the text. When I get far from this, it deactivates it. And as you can see, I kind of get very close to this, and this due to the fact that the collision here is set to is trigger. So let's try and remove the is trigger. You'll see that it will actually block me from getting closer to it. So this is what the is trigger is doing. And then when I press E, it will increase my number of items available in my inventory, and I'll be able to just respawn it if I want to. I can do this to all spheres in my scene. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out the other video that I'll be linking just now on the right hand side of the screen if you want to see how I'm able to spawn these spheres. Wait, goodbye and thank you for watching. Want to become a professional game developer? I designed the ultimate game development course that will teach you everything you need to make your own top quality games with over 20 hours of content and 100 lectures at your disposal. Make sure to check the link in the description for more information.